Welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about a couple things. First, we're going to talk about the new TCG ban list. Then we're going to talk about the new set that's coming out in TCG in about 3 days. New set's going to come out. I'm going to talk about all the sick water cards you can get, and these cards are so cheap. It is pretty hilarious. So let's get going first. Looking at the new TCG ban list. Now, I played TCG recently. It was pretty crazy. There's a lot of very expensive decks going about that made it very difficult to play. Kind of a tier 1 meta, and we'll see what they unbanned, and we'll talk about it. So, what they banned and unbanned. So let's start right here with the changes. Newly unlimited. We got Destrudo going from 1 to 3. This is a pretty cool card. Lets you do level 7 synchros pretty easily. If it's in your hand or graveyard, pay half your life points, target a monster on the field. You special summon this, and then it reduces its level by the level the monster targeted. So it'll always make a level 7 synchro. Pretty cool card. Not a card I've played with a lot in Master Duel, but maybe something I should check out because level 7's pretty sweet. And level 7 synchro is also quite cool. Jet Synchron, finally back to 3 since Hulk is banned. He does no longer has to pay for Hulk Fibrax Sins. And you can see here already we got Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion going to 3 as well, paying for Hulk Fibrax's Sins. Now done. He is safe, free. Down here we also got Servant of Endymion. If you like pendulums, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry, but you're a terrible person. Let's go to the next one. We got True King Lithogram the Disaster. Used to love this card, played it in Dinosaurs. You destroy 2 other monsters in your hand to special summon it, and it has an effect that lets you look at your opponent's extra deck and banish monsters. So that's a pretty cool effect. Very fun in Dinosaurs. You pop your babies, get some dinosaur specials to the field, and this is going up to 3, so very sweet card. Let's go on to the next one. Yatagarasu going from 1 to 3. This card is not going to do anything, but was very powerful a long time ago. And also Spiral Resort, so if you play Spirals, this will probably make you happy, but I think Spiral cards also other Spiral cards very heavily limited in TCG. So let's go on to newly limited, and this is where we're going to start talking about Tearlments. So Tearlments was a tier 0 deck that involved milling, and basically turn 1 would mill the half of its deck to the graveyard and activate 1,000 effects, and it could do it on, if it was going second, it could do it on turn 0. Like it could do it during the opponent's turn going second, which is pretty ridiculous. And partially responsible for that are these 3 cards, which are all now at 1, going from 3 to 1. Yugioh Ancient Sentinel has an effect that activates in the graveyard, milling a bunch of cards. Kelbeck, same deal, sends 5 cards from their deck to the graveyard. And Keldo, the Sacred Protector, also going to 1. So this is a huge nerf for the Tearlments deck. They were playing these at 3, and that's definitely going to hit them quite hard. Mudora also, same deal, going to 1. Konami is not done yet. Havness going to 1, Merrily going to 1, Sheeran going to 1. So this deck is basically killed. This was a tier 0 deck. So if you want to play TCG, I think your Sword Soul decks, your Umi control decks, whatever you were playing before, definitely going to be a lot more viable now with Tearlments essentially turned into a very small engine, not a overpowering deck list. And then it looks like they unbanned Ancient Fairy Dragon. It got a pretty major errata, so it used to be used to combo with field spells, and they nerfed it. Now I think it adds a field spell from deck to your hand, but they added like a hard once per turn clause. So this text, I think it's the pre-errated text. So this is not accurate, but the card is now at 1. So let me know if you want to be playing Ancient Fairy Dragon. And I think there's other changes here. We got newly forbidden Artifact Scythe to 0 in TCG. Very cool. This card's quite mean. Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Now this is banned in OCG and in Master Duel as well. So that is going to hurt Fluandereeze. So another deck that's very powerful being hit. So your Sword Souls, your Branded, your Mermails, all looking a little more viable right now. Going on, we also got Kit Kalos to 0. Now this is also banned in the OCG. I'm told the deck is still playable with Kit Kalos banned, so not necessarily death knell for the deck, but all the cards being at 1 definitely means it's not going to be very consistent. And we also got Sprite Elf. So Sprite's not even out in Master Duel, already banned in TCG. And this card is very powerful, lets you recur a monster from your graveyard. So we'll never be able to do this in Master Duel, but people were using Totally Awesome and negating a card effect and then resummoning it with Sprite Elf. And because Toad is a not a hard once per turn, you could negate again. So very heavy hits to Sprite, another extremely powerful deck. So if you want to play TCG, that's all the changes there for the ban list in TCG. If you want to play TCG, I think this looks like a really fun format to get into because a lot of the very powerful overbearing decks have been hit, and you're going to be able to bring your kind of more fun decks and hopefully not get curb stomped. So that's pretty sweet. Now, next thing we're going to do is talk about the new set that's coming out this week, and that is Photon Hypernova. So we got Photon Hypernova right here, and we're just going to go and see. Now, I always gauge people's interest in cards and how powerful they're going to be by sorting by price. So we're going to sort by price and go to the highest price cards here. All right, here we go. So what do people want from this set? It looks like some Starlight Rares, Premier Blade, Kashtira, Arise, Heart, Gold Pride, and Tri Brigade. So I think some of these cards are reprints. I know Mirror Jade is. I'm not sure about Kashtira, but Gold Pride definitely is a new card. But I think there's a this one there's also not a Starlight Rare. So you don't need to buy a $300 card to play this deck. I think there's a cheaper version. So going out of the Starlight Rares, we got $86 Pressure Plant, Rasson, so not sure what this is about, and Kashtira, Theosis. Okay, so people are saying Kashtiras are going to be a very powerful deck now with all those other decks banned, and if you want to play set of this card, it's going to rack you up a very expensive bill at $86 each, so more than the price of a box, which is pretty ridiculous. But you know what? We don't need to play Kashtiras. We don't need to cash out. We can play some pretty sweet, very cheap decks. Let's take a look. So Gishki's get some new boss monsters right now with Evigishki Neuromanus. Now, you've seen me talk about this card before. It's very cool. You can play it with your sprites if you still have the rest of the unbanned sprite cards. I'm very excited for this to get released in Master Duel because I think it's going to be a pretty sweet boss monster. When you ritual summon it, you can target a water monster in your graveyard, special summon it, which is going to be pretty sweet with various water decks. So I definitely want to try this out in Master Duel, but I have been able to get a playset since it's selling for only 35 cents. There is a very low floor to testing this out. So for a whole $1, you can get yourself a playset of this and check out the Gishki deck. Let's take a look at the other Gishki cards and see how viable this deck is going to be from a price perspective. Focused Aquamirror, another new Gishki card in the set, just searches a Gishki and also has an effect in the graveyard if you control a Gishki ritual monster, which is pretty sweet, and selling for a grand total of 22 cents. So already we got two play sets for $2 and less than $2 here, and you know, we're not racking up the big bill that is Kashtiras. Crazy to me how cheap some Yu-Gi-Oh cards can be. All right, let's go and check out the next one. Gishki Necro Mirror, another really interesting card. New Gishki card, lets you special summon the ritual monster by tributing monsters from your hand or field, or you can tribute one face-up monster your opponent controls, which is going to be very cool because stealing your opponent's monsters going second with this spell I think is going to be extremely interesting. So a very powerful going second option. Also, if you ritual summon, you lose life points into an attack of the ritual monster. That cost not that terrible. If it's in your graveyard, target a Gishki in your graveyard, place it on top of the deck. So some recursion, yeah, place this on the bottom of the deck. So some recursion with this card. It seems very powerful going second, letting you kind of kaiju your opponent's monsters out. So definitely interested in trying this out. I think I might try it out in TCG and see how it plays before it's available in Master Duel. Definitely something you can do for only 22 cents. Again, let's go on to the next one. Grimness, Gishki Grimness, a new main deck monster, lets you ritual summon using this monster as the entire tribute. So you don't need to have level 8s, you can just use this singular card. And if it's normal special summon, you can special summon a Gishki monster from your deck. So you will need to have some of the older Gishki monsters, which might be harder to get a hold of, but if you got them already, or you know, you can find them, definitely something interesting to try out. Gonna let you search for the ritual spell or the ritual monster and get ritual summoning. So let's go on to the next card here. Moving on beyond the Gishkis, we got Minairuka. Now, I think this is a TCG exclusive card, so I don't think this was actually something that came out in the OCG at all. So nobody knows how good this card is going to be. Selling for 22 cents means it's going to be quite cheap. So if you want to try it out, definitely low risk. I think we've racked up a grand total of $3 in Yu-Gi-Oh cards right now. When a water monster's effect is activated, you can special summon this from your hand, and you can banish a face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua you control, target a face-up card on the field, negate its effects. So you can use this with itself. You can special summon this when you activate a water effect, and then just banish itself to negate a monster effect that your opponent controls, which is pretty cool, I think, for a common. Very powerful effect. Obviously, you can use it in rank 4 engines. Being a water fish leads you a lot of opportunities to use this card. So another card, very cool, that I'm excited to try out. Next card we have, not something I've seen people use, Sneaky Sea, a sea-based hand trap. Now let's quickly read this effect. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand face down defense position, and then during the end phase of this turn, change it to face up defense position. If it's flipped face up during the end phase, destroy all special summon monsters on the field. Now, I don't know if people are sleeping on this card. I tried to find a discussion thread about this card, and I could not find anyone talking about this. I don't think this is a new TCG card. Let me know if it is. But if this card came in the OCG and did nothing, maybe I'm a fool. But this seems like a pretty powerful effect. At the very least, when your opponent special summons a monster, you're going to be making them use a negate. Otherwise, their whole board's getting wrathed in the end phase. And it's not as powerful going second. So it definitely seems like a pretty fair, more fixed version of Max C that punishes decks that special summon a lot by making them use a negate during their turn. So could be a very powerful option. Let me know what you think about Sneaky Sea. Is this card good? Is this playable? Or is this a complete meme? All right. Again, testing that out for a grand total of 75 cents. Not going to be breaking the bank. And let's check out one last card. We got the big budget $5 Ice Jade Gamir Agerine from Photon Hypernova. Now, there is a Ice Jade card that will let you special summon this that comes out later in the year. Not out yet, so we won't talk about it. This is a generic level 10 synchro. Does use a water tuner, so you're only going to be playing this in your water decks, but if you're watching my channel, hopefully you've been playing water decks this whole time. Quick effect lets you activate face-up monsters you control can't be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects till end of turn. So that's a pretty powerful effect, just blanket protection. Then if you activated this effect in response to an opponent's card, and your opponent has cards with that name on the field, so if they activate a card effect and you activate this in response, you can banish those cards. So a quick effect banish when your opponent activates a card effect, that seems really strong. So your opponent does their normal summon, activates an effect, you just activate this, banish that card, and then you have protection. Your whole field has protection for the rest of the turn. Like, this seems really good. Also says, if a card is banished by your opponent's card effect while this is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Again, really powerful effect to recur itself if cards are getting destroyed on your field or banished on your field or whatever. If it ends up dying, you can get it back real easy. So definitely seems like a powerful option at $5. You know, I know this costs more than all the other cards we got so far, but definitely seems like worth trying out at least at one. So I'm definitely going to get myself a copy of this card, see how it works in, you know, my my decks, because I think it's going to be a pretty sweet option. And since it uses a water tuner, you can use this in Sword Soul with the water tuner token. So if you're playing Sword Soul, definitely a card you can try out. So these are all the cards that I'm interested in checking out. Let me know what you think. Is Agerine Gamir going to be a powerful option? Are the Gishkis going to be powerful with the new bans on Sprite and other archetypes? Are you interested in trying out TCG again? I'm really curious to see. I don't actually know how many of you guys actually play TCG, or if you're all Master Duel fans, so let me know in the comments if you're playing TCG at all, or if you're only playing Master Duel. Alright, thanks for watching, and have a good night. I'll see you next time.